The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with angry voices. 12 different alien species sat in their special chairs, each one designed for their unique bodies. The Zentari looked like tall crystals with arms and legs. The Vorthak had blue skin and 4 eyes. The Draconian had scales and sharp teeth. All of them were upset about the same thing: humans. Ambassador Kethvar from the Zentari Federation stood up. His crystal body caught the light and threw rainbows across the walls. He was very angry, and when Zentari got angry, their bodies made a ringing sound like broken glass. "The humans are too dangerous," he said in a loud voice. "They grow too fast. They build too much. They ask too many questions. We must stop them now before it is too late." The other aliens nodded their heads. Some made clicking sounds with their mouths. Others stamped their feet or tentacles on the floor. They all agreed that humans were a problem. Captain Jake Morrison sat in the human section of the hall. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been to many of these meetings before, but this one felt different. The anger in the room was stronger than usual. Next to Jake sat Lisa Adams, Earth's best diplomat. She was a smart woman who had spent 20 years trying to make peace between humans and aliens. She could speak 7 alien languages and knew their customs better than most of them did. But today even she looked worried. "Ambassador Kethvar," Lisa said, standing up slowly. "We have been friends with your people for 50 years. We have helped you in many wars. We have shared our medicine and our technology. Why do you speak of us as enemies?" Kethvar's crystal body rang louder. "Friends? You call yourselves friends? Look what you have done in 50 years. When we first met you, humans lived on one small planet. Now you have colonies on 300 worlds. Your ships fill the space lanes. Your traders are in every market. Your soldiers guard borders that are not even yours. We helped because you asked us to help," Jake said, his voice calm but firm. "When the Corvan pirates attacked your trade, ships, who came to fight them? When the plague hit the Altarian worlds, who sent doctors and medicine? When the great storm damaged your space stations, who sent engineers to fix them?" The Vorthak ambassador, a female named Zixtha, spoke next. Her 4 eyes blinked in a pattern that showed disagreement. "Yes, you helped, but you also took. Every world you helped, you asked for trade rights. Every system you protected, you built a base. Every problem you solved, you gained more power." Lisa shook her head. "We never took anything we were not given, freely. Every base was built with permission. Every trade deal was fair to both sides." "Fair?" Kethvar made a sound like breaking glass. "You humans do not understand what fair means. When the Zentari make a trade deal, we talk for months. We study every word. We make sure both sides get exactly the same value. You humans make deals in hours. You shake hands and trust each other. This is not how civilized beings behave." An alien from the Corban Union spoke up. He looked like a large insect with 6 arms. "The humans are unpredictable. They do things that make no sense. Last year they sent a rescue ship to save our miners from a collapsing asteroid. The cost of that rescue was more than the miners were worth. Why would they do such a thing?" Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice steady. "Because they were people. Because they had families. Because saving lives is the right thing to do. See?" Kethvar pointed one crystal finger at Jake. "This is exactly what we mean. You make decisions based on feelings, not logic. You cannot be trusted to think clearly." The Draconian ambassador, whose name was Rextar, stood up on his powerful legs. His scales were dark green and his teeth were very sharp. "The humans reproduce too fast. They learn too quickly. 50 years ago, they could barely travel between stars. Now their ships are faster than ours. Their weapons are stronger than ours. Their computers are smarter than ours. How did this happen so fast?" Lisa tried one more time to make them understand. "We learned from you. All of you. The Zentari taught us about crystal technology. The Vorthak showed us how to build better engines. The Draconian helped us understand energy shields. We took the best ideas from every species and combined them with our own ideas. This is how knowledge grows." "And this is why you are dangerous," Kethvar said. We gave you our knowledge because we thought you were simple and harmless. We did not know you would use it to become stronger than us." The hall was quiet for a moment. Then, Counselor Yathara from the Altarian Republic spoke. She was an old alien who looked like a tall flower with many arms. Her voice was soft and sad. "Perhaps we are being unfair. The humans have been good friends to us. When our children were dying from the red fever, human doctors worked day and night to save them. They asked for nothing in return. One good deed does not erase the danger," Vrextar growled. "Today they save our children. Tomorrow they might conquer our worlds. We cannot take that risk." Jake stood up and looked around the hall. He saw fear in every alien face. Fear and jealousy and anger. "What exactly are you asking us to do?" Kethvar's crystal body rang like a bell. "Leave. Take your ships, your colonies, your bases, and your people. Go beyond the galactic rim. Never come back." The words hit Jake like a punch in the stomach. "You want us to abandon everything we have built? Leave the worlds where our children were born? Forget about our friends and allies?" "Yes," Kethavar said simply. "You have 72 standard hours to begin the evacuation. Any human presence remaining in Council space after that time will be considered an act of war." Lisa's face went pale. "This is madness. We are not your enemies. We have never threatened any of you. You threaten us just by existing." Zixtha said with her 4 eyes. "You grow too fast. You adapt too quickly. You make us all look weak and slow by comparison. This cannot continue." The vote was taken quickly. 10 species voted to expel humanity from galactic space. Only the Altarians voted against it, and they were just one voice among many. The Corbin Union abstained, which meant they were too scared to pick a side. As the session ended, Jake and Lisa walked slowly back to the human embassy. The streets of Nexus Prime, the galactic capital, were filled with aliens going about their daily business. Many of them had worked with humans for years. Some had human friends. A few even had human spouses and mixed children. "What do we tell Earth?" Lisa asked quietly. Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "We tell them the truth. We tell them that we tried to be good neighbors, but good neighbors are not always welcome. We tell them to pack everything they can carry because we are going home." And after that, Jake looked up at the stars that filled the alien sky. Somewhere out there, beyond the rim of the galaxy, was empty space where humans could build their own future. After that, we see what humanity can do when no one is watching over our shoulder. The message went out that night to every human colony, every human ship, every human family in the galaxy. The age of cooperation was over. The age of exile was about to begin. And none of the aliens who voted that day had any idea what they had just set in motion. The first colony ships arrived at New Boston 3 days after the council vote. Captain Ryan Clark stood on the observation deck of his command ship and watched the massive vessels drop out of hyperspace. Each ship was as big as a city and carried 50,000 people. The sight should have been beautiful, but Ryan felt only sadness. New Boston was one of the oldest human colonies outside Earth's solar system. 6 generations of families had lived here. They had turned a dead rock into a world with blue skies, green forests, and clean rivers. Children played in parks their great-grandparents had planted. Students went to schools built by people who were now buried in the local cemetery. Dr. Helen Foster ran the main hospital in New Boston's capital city. She was loading medical equipment into cargo containers when Ryan found her. Her hands were shaking as she packed delicate instruments that had saved thousands of lives. "My great-grandfather helped terraform this world," she said without looking up. "He spent 40 years breathing poisonous air and wearing a pressure suit just so his children could walk outside without protection. Now we have to leave it all behind." Ryan helped her lift a heavy scanner into the container. "We will build new hospitals, better ones." Helen finally looked at him. Her eyes were red from crying. "Will we? Or will we just drift in space until we die? Where exactly are we supposed to go, Captain? The galaxy is big, but most of it is empty. The good worlds are already taken." Ryan did not have a good answer for her. The human government had been looking at star charts for 3 days, trying to find a place where 300 million people could live. Beyond the galactic rim was mostly empty space with a few scattered stars. It would take years just to survey possible new homes. On the other side of the city, Commander Alex Turner was overseeing the evacuation of the military base. Human soldiers were loading weapons, vehicles, and supplies onto transport ships. The base had protected not just New Boston, but 3 other worlds in this sector. Without it, the systems would be defenseless against pirates and raiders. "Sir," said Lieutenant Ben Carter, a young officer who had been born on New Boston. "What about the defense satellites? Do we take them too?" Alex looked at the tactical display showing the orbital defenses around New Boston. The satellites had cost billions of credits and taken years to build. They protected not just the human colony but also 2 alien trading posts and a Zentari research station. "Leave them," Alex said after a moment. "Maybe the aliens will figure out how to use them. Maybe they will just float in space and rust. Either way, it is not our problem anymore." Ben looked surprised. "But sir, those satellites have classified human technology. If the aliens study them, then they will learn how far behind they really are," Alex said quietly. "Let them have our old technology. We will build better." The evacuation was not just happening on New Boston. Across the galaxy, humans were packing up their lives and heading for the ships. On the farming world of New Kansas, families loaded grain harvesters and cattle onto cargo vessels. The wheat they left behind would feed alien worlds for years to come. On the mining world of Iron Creek, human engineers shut down the automated systems that had been pulling precious metals from the planet's core for 20 years. Without human maintenance, the mines would flood and collapse within months. The hardest evacuation was on Harmony Station, a massive space city that orbited between 3 different solar systems. Harmony was home to 2 million humans and 500,000 aliens of different species. Many of the aliens had human friends, human business partners, even human spouses. Station Commander Kate Williams received hundreds of requests from aliens who wanted to come with the human evacuation. Mixed families were being torn apart. Alien children who had been raised by human parents were being forced to choose between their adoptive families and their birth species. "This is insane," said Dr. Carl Johnson, who ran the station's cultural exchange program. "We have Zentari here who speak better English than Zentari. We have Vorthak who have never even visited their home world. Now we are supposed to abandon them?" Kate looked out at the docking bays where families were saying goodbye. The council was very clear. Only humans can leave. Anyone else who comes with us will be considered a traitor by their own people. And if they stay? Kate did not answer, but they both knew the truth. The aliens who had worked closely with humans would probably be treated with suspicion by their own governments. Some might be arrested as collaborators. Others might simply be shunned by their communities. The alien governments watched the human evacuation with mixed feelings. Some were satisfied to see the humans go. Others were starting to have second thoughts. Ambassador Keithvar stood in his crystal tower on Nexus Prime and watched human ships pass overhead. There were so many of them. In just 1 week, the humans had organized the largest evacuation in galactic history. Millions of people, billions of tons of equipment, entire cities' worth of infrastructure, all moving in perfect coordination. "How did they do this so quickly?" asked his assistant, a younger Zentari named Veltar. Kethvar did not answer immediately. The Zentari were proud of their organizational skills, but it would have taken them months to plan something like this. The humans had done it in days. On the Vorthak homeworld, Ambassador Zixtha was reading reports about the evacuation. Her 4 eyes moved quickly across the data, and what she saw made her uncomfortable. The humans were not just leaving, they were taking everything with them. Every piece of advanced technology, every trained expert, every piece of knowledge they had brought to the galaxy. "The humans are being very thorough," reported her aide, a male Vorthak with scarred blue skin. "They are even taking their garbage recycling systems and water purification plants." Zixtha felt a chill run through her body. Those systems were used on dozens of alien worlds. Without human maintenance, they would break down within months. The most disturbing reports came from the Draconian Empire. Their spies had been watching human military bases, expecting to find weapons and ships left behind. Instead, they found empty buildings and bare landing pads. The humans had taken everything, even the furniture. They cleaned out their armories completely, reported General Mordak to the Draconian Council. Not just the big weapons, everything. Even the spare parts for equipment they sold to us years ago. This news worried the Draconian leaders. Much of their military equipment was based on human designs or used human-made components. Without spare parts and technical support, their own defenses would slowly degrade, but it was too late to change their minds now. The vote had been taken, the humans were leaving, and galactic law said they could not come back. Captain Ryan Clark made the final broadcast from New Boston as his ship prepared to leave orbit. The message went out to every world in the galaxy, translated into dozens of languages. "We came to this galaxy in peace," he said, looking directly into the camera. "We shared our knowledge freely. We helped when help was needed. We fought beside you when enemies threatened. We built homes here and raised our children here. We thought this galaxy was our home too." He paused and looked out the window at the world his people were leaving behind. "You have decided that we are too dangerous to live among you. We respect your decision, even though we do not understand it. We will go beyond the rim and build new homes in the empty spaces between galaxies. But remember this: we did not leave because we were weak. We left because we chose to honor your wishes rather than fight a war that would destroy us all." The broadcast ended, and the last human ships jumped to hyperspace. Within hours, 300 million humans had vanished from galactic space. The evacuation was complete. In the silence that followed, the alien species began to realize what they had done, but by then it was too late to take it back. The humans were gone, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the humans left, the first cracks began to show. Captain Vexthol of the Zentari Defense Force was patrolling the trade route between Nexus Prime and the Altarian colonies when his sensors picked up something wrong. 3 merchant ships were sending distress signals from the Kepler sector. "Pirates," said his navigator, a young Zentari whose crystal body was still clear and bright. "Corvan raiders by the look of their ships." Vexthol studied the tactical display. 5 pirate vessels were attacking the merchant convoy. In the old days, he would have called for human patrol ships. They were always close by, always ready to help. Their fast attack craft could have reached the convoy in minutes. "How long until we can reach them?" he asked. 4 hours at maximum speed, the navigator replied. Vexthol felt his crystal body dim with frustration. The merchants would be dead or captured long before his ships could arrive. He sent the distress call to other patrol fleets, but the nearest Zentari ships were even farther away. The humans had always been the quick responders, the ones who could be anywhere in the galaxy within hours. By the time the rescue fleet arrived, they found 3 gutted merchant ships drifting in space. The pirates had taken everything valuable and killed the crews. 47 beings were dead, including children who had been traveling with their families. "This is the 5th pirate attack this month," reported his communications officer. "The Corvan syndicate is getting bolder." Vexthol knew why. The Corvan pirates had always been careful before, staying away from routes protected by human patrols. Now those patrols were gone, and the pirates were moving into areas they had never dared to attack. On the medical world of Sanctuary, Dr. Zeftai of the Altarian Medical Institute was facing a different kind of crisis. The plague that had killed millions 5 years ago was back, and it was spreading faster than ever. "The virus has mutated," she explained to her research team. "Our vaccines are not working anymore. The disease is adapting faster than we can study it." The Altarians were excellent doctors, but they had always relied on human biotechnology for the most difficult cases. Human computers could analyze genetic patterns in hours instead of weeks. Human laboratories could produce new medicines in days instead of months. "What about the research data the humans left behind?" asked Dr. Mortai, her assistant. Zeftai shook her head sadly. "They took everything, every computer file, Every research sample, every piece of equipment. They said it was to prevent the technology from falling into the wrong hands. The plague was spreading to other worlds now. The Zentari had closed their borders to prevent infection, but that only made the problem worse. Sick refugees were trapped on dying worlds with no way to get help. On the industrial world of Kepler 442b, the Draconian Consortium was learning hard lessons about human engineering. They had taken over the massive factories that humans had built, thinking they could simply continue production where the humans left off. Foreman Grextar stood in the main assembly hall, staring at machines that had been silent for months. The humans had built these factories to produce everything from starship engines to medical equipment. Now they were just expensive metal sculptures. Have the engineers figured out how to restart the production line? He asked his supervisor. The supervisor, a scarred draconian named Torval, made a sound of frustration. The humans built these machines to work with their computers. Their computers worked with their software. Their software was designed for their way of thinking. Everything connects to everything else in ways we do not understand. They had tried to hire engineers from other species, but no one could make sense of human industrial design. The humans had built their factories like living things, with systems that adapted and learned and grew. Other species built machines that did exactly what they were told and nothing more. What about the instruction manuals? Grextar asked. The humans took those too. They said it was standard procedure when leaving a facility. Torval kicked at a piece of machinery. We can make the machines turn on, but they just make noise and produce garbage. We are missing something important, but we do not know what. Similar problems were happening all across the galaxy. The Vorthak had taken over human mining operations, but the extraction rates had dropped by 70%. The Corbin Union had inherited human agricultural worlds, but the crop yields were failing without human farming techniques. Ambassador Kethvar was getting reports from every corner of Zentari space. Trade was down. Crime was up. Several colony worlds were asking for emergency aid. The carefully balanced economy of the galaxy was falling apart. Perhaps we should contact the humans, suggested his aide Veltar. Ask them to send technical advisors to help with the transition. Kethavar's crystal body rang with anger. Absolutely not. We made our decision. We cannot show weakness now by asking for their help. But privately, he was beginning to worry. The humans had been involved in everything: trade, defense, medicine, technology, diplomacy. Removing them from the galaxy was like removing a major organ from a living body. The patient might survive, but it would never be the same. The worst problems were happening on the border worlds. The Vorthak Empire had always been protected by human shield generators and defense platforms. When the humans left, they had offered to sell the defense systems to the Vorthak government. The Vorthak had refused, saying they did not need human protection. Now Vorthak border colonies were under constant attack. The Draconian Empire, seeing weakness, had started claiming Vorthak territory. 3 border wars had broken out in the past month. Refugees were fleeing toward the galactic core, bringing stories of burned cities and orbital bombardments. On Nexus Prime, Counselor Yathara of the Altarian Republic was reading intelligence reports that made her flower-like body wilt with despair. The galaxy was becoming more dangerous every day. The humans were right, she said to her assistant during a private meeting. They were not the threat. They were the solution to threats we did not even know we had. Her assistant, a young Altarian named Pixtel, looked confused. What do you mean? The humans were everywhere, doing everything. They were the glue that held galactic civilization together. Without them, we are falling apart. Yathara had been one of the few council members to vote against the human expulsion. She had warned that removing humans from the galaxy would have unexpected consequences. Now those consequences were becoming clear. Should we try to contact them? Pixtel asked. Yathara considered this carefully. Not yet. The other council members are too proud to admit they made a mistake. But if things continue to get worse, we may have no choice. The communication networks were failing too. The quantum communicators that allowed instant communication across the galaxy had been built using human technology. Without regular maintenance by human technicians, The network was breaking down. Messages that used to take seconds to cross. The galaxy now took hours or days. Some worlds were becoming completely isolated. The Corbin Union had lost contact with 12 of their colonies. The Zentari had dispatched repair ships, but their technicians could not fix the advanced human equipment. In the lawless regions beyond the galactic rim, something else was happening. Long-range sensors were picking up strange energy signatures. Ships that did not match any known design were moving through the empty space where the humans had gone. Captain Vexthol was on patrol near the rim when his sensors detected a massive energy pulse from beyond the edge of the galaxy. For a moment, his instruments showed something impossible, a structure the size of a small moon, surrounded by ships that registered as bigger than anything in the galactic fleet. "Did you see that?" he asked his navigator. The young Zentari checked his instruments. "See what, Captain? I show nothing but empty space." Vexthol looked at his own sensors. They showed the same thing, empty space. But he knew what he had seen. The humans were out there and they were building something big. Word of these sightings began to spread through the galactic intelligence networks. The humans had not simply disappeared into the void. They were still out there, still working, still growing. But now they were beyond the reach of galactic law and galactic oversight. Some aliens began to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. Others insisted that the humans leaving was the best thing that could have happened. But as the galaxy continued to fall apart around them, more and more voices were beginning to ask the same question. What had they done? 2 years after the humans left, the galaxy was dying. Admiral Katie Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, the New Horizon, watching the chaos unfold through long-range sensors. The ship was positioned just beyond the galactic rim, where the human fleet had been building and waiting. "Another war has started," reported Captain Sam Rodriguez, her intelligence officer. "The Zentari and Vorthak are fighting over the mining rights in the Kepler sector." Katie nodded grimly. "The same sector where we used to have 3 mining stations. Now they are fighting over the scraps we left behind." The human fleet had grown enormously in the 2 years since the Exodus. Free from galactic regulations and political interference, human engineers had pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Ships that had once taken years to build now rolled off automated production lines in weeks. "Show me the tactical analysis," Katie ordered. The main screen filled with data about the Zentari-Vorthak conflict. Both sides were using weapons that were decades behind human technology. Their shields were failing, their engines were slow, and their tactics were predictable. "They are fighting with our old equipment," Sam observed. "The weapons we sold them 5 years ago are the most advanced things they have." Katie watched as a Zentari cruiser exploded under Vorthak fire. Good beings were dying because their leaders had chosen pride over common sense. "Any word from the other crisis zones?" "The Altarian plague has spread to 23 systems now," Sam reported. "The Corvin Syndicate controls half of what used to be our territory, and the Draconian Empire is collapsing into civil war. The humans had not been idle during their exile. Every day brought new breakthroughs in technology. Dr. Paul Harrison, the chief scientist of the human fleet, had made discoveries that seemed like magic to the other species. Faster-than-light engines that could cross the galaxy in days instead of weeks. Energy shields that could protect entire planets. Weapons that could crack asteroids with a single shot. But the most important discovery was not a weapon or a tool. It was a new way of thinking. Without the need to constantly negotiate with alien governments, without the restrictions of galactic law, without the fear of offending other species, humans had started to think bigger. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Jenny Walsh from the communications station. "We are receiving a message from inside galactic space. It is coded and scrambled, but the signature looks Altarian." Katie raised an eyebrow. "Put it through." The message was from Counselor Yathara, transmitted through black market channels and smuggler networks. Her flower-like face appeared on the screen, looking older and more wilted than Katie remembered. "Admiral Sullivan," Yathara said quietly, "I hope this message reaches you. The galaxy is falling apart. The plague has reached the core worlds. The trade networks have collapsed. 3 major wars are raging, and more are starting every week. The message paused, and Katie could see the pain in the alien's eyes. "We were wrong," Yathara continued. "We let fear guide us instead of wisdom. We thought you were dangerous, but the real danger was the chaos that followed your departure. Please, if there is any way to repair the damage we have done, tell us what we must do." The message ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Katie looked around at her officers, all of whom had heard the desperate plea. "Opinions?" she asked. Commander Alex Turner, who had been promoted to Katie's staff after the evacuation, spoke first. "Some of us have been waiting for this moment, a chance to go back and help our friends. And the rest of us remember why we left," added Captain Ryan Clark, joining the conversation by video link from his own ship. "They did not just ask us to leave. They threatened us with war if we stayed." Katie understood both sides. The humans had made friends in the galaxy, alien beings who had worked alongside them and trusted them. But they had also been betrayed by people they thought were allies. "What about the tactical situation?" she asked Sam. "We could end all the current conflicts in a matter of days," Sam replied. "Our technology is so far ahead of theirs that it would not even be a fair fight. But the question is whether we should." Katie walked to the main viewport and looked out at the stars. Beyond the rim of the galaxy, humans had built something extraordinary. Cities that floated in empty space. Factories that could produce anything imaginable. Ships that could travel between galaxies. They had not just survived their exile, they had evolved. "There is something else," Sam said quietly. "Our deep space sensors have detected alien reconnaissance ships at the edge of the rim. They are trying to spy on us." Katie turned back to her officers. "What kind of ships?" "Centauri, mostly. A few Vorthak scouts. They are staying at extreme range, but they are definitely watching us." This was not surprising. The aliens had to be curious about what the humans were doing in exile, but it also meant that word of human activities was probably getting back to the galactic government. Dr. Harrison entered the bridge, carrying a data pad with his latest research. He was a thin man with wild hair and clothes that were always wrinkled. But his mind was brilliant, and his discoveries had changed everything. "Admiral," he said excitedly, "I have finished the analysis of the alien technology samples we collected before leaving. You are not going to believe what I found." Katie looked at the data pad. The numbers made her eyes widen. "Are you sure about this?" "Completely sure. The alien species we lived with for 50 years are not just behind us technologically. They are thousands of years behind us. Their fastest ships are slower than our cargo vessels. Their most powerful weapons could not scratch our lightest armor." This was shocking news. The humans had always thought of themselves as the junior partners in galactic civilization. They had looked up to the older species, learned from them, tried to earn their respect. "How is this possible?" Katie asked. "They stopped innovating," Dr. Harrison explained. "Each species reached a comfortable level of technology and then stayed there for centuries. They became so focused on tradition and stability that they forgot how to grow." Katie thought about this. The Centauri had been using the same basic ship designs for over 1,000 years. The Vorthak had not developed a new weapon system in 5 centuries. The Draconian Empire still used energy shields that were based on ancient principles. "But they seemed so advanced when we first met them," she said. "They were advanced compared to us 50 years ago," Dr. Harrison agreed. "But we kept learning and growing while they stood still. Now the gap is so wide that we might as well be a different species." Captain Rodriguez brought up a new display showing the current state of the galaxy. Red zones marked areas of conflict. Yellow zones showed systems affected by plague or economic collapse. Green zones representing stable and peaceful areas were becoming fewer every day. "The Corvin Syndicate is the biggest threat now," he reported. "They have taken over most of the former human territory and are expanding into Centauri space. Their pirate fleets are attacking civilian targets throughout the galaxy." Katie studied the display. The Corvin had always been a problem, but they had been kept in check by human patrols and alien cooperation. Now, with the humans gone and the alien species fighting each other, the pirates were free to do whatever they wanted. "How many ships do they have?" she asked. Intelligence estimates put their fleet at around 3,000 vessels, mostly converted merchant ships and stolen military hardware, but they have numbers. Katie almost laughed. 3,000 ships? Sounded like a lot to the aliens, but the human fleet now numbered over 50,000 vessels. Each one was more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Admiral," Lieutenant Walsh called out, "we are getting multiple distress signals from the Galactic Core. It looks like the Corvin Syndicate is attacking Nexus Prime itself." Katie felt a chill run down her spine. Nexus Prime was the capital of galactic civilization. If it fell to pirates, the entire government structure would collapse. "How long do we have?" she asked. "The attack is happening now," Walsh replied. "The defense fleet is heavily outnumbered." Katie looked around the bridge at her officers. These were good people who had been forced to leave their homes because of fear and prejudice. They had every right to let the galaxy burn, but she could see in their eyes that they were not that kind of people. "All ships," she ordered. "Prepare for immediate departure. We are going home." The battle for Nexus Prime was almost over when the humans arrived. Admiral Katie Sullivan watched through her ship's sensors as the last of the defense fleet fell to the Corvin pirates. The galactic capital, home to billions of beings from dozens of species, was about to fall to criminals and raiders. "Corvin fleet composition?" she asked her tactical officer. 2,700 ships surrounding the planet, Lieutenant Commander Beth Parker reported. "They have overwhelmed the orbital defenses and are preparing to land ground forces." Katie looked at her own fleet. 50,000 human vessels had made the jump from beyond the rim. Each ship was sleek, powerful, and built with technology that seemed impossible just 5 years ago. The smallest human scout ship could outfight most alien battleships. "Communications, open a channel to the Corvin fleet," Katie ordered. The main screen flickered, showing the bridge of the Corvin flagship. The pirate commander was a scarred alien with 4 arms and yellow eyes. His name was Exile, and he had been terrorizing the galaxy for months. "Who dares interrupt the great Exile?" he snarled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Admiral Katie Sullivan of the Human Expeditionary Fleet," she replied calmly. "You have exactly 60 seconds to withdraw your forces from this system." Exile laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Humans? The cowards who ran away when the Council told them to leave? You have no power here anymore." 50 seconds, Katie said, not changing her expression. "You think your pathetic fleet can challenge the might of the Corvin Syndicate?" Exile waved one of his 4 arms dismissively. "We have taken over half the galaxy. Your old colonies. Bow to us now." 30 seconds. The pirate commander's yellow eyes narrowed. "How many ships do you have, human?" "A few hundred. We have thousands." Katie looked at her tactical display. The Corvin ships were spread out around Nexus Prime, confident in their overwhelming numbers. They had no idea what they were facing. "Time's up," she said simply. The human attack lasted exactly 97 seconds. Weapons that fired beams of pure energy cut through Corvin shields like paper. Human ships moved so fast they appeared as blurs on enemy sensors. The pirates never had a chance to mount a defense. When the shooting stopped, the entire Corvin fleet was either destroyed or floating dead in space. Not a single human vessel had taken damage. The orbital space around Nexus Prime was filled with debris and escape pods. On the surface of the planet, Ambassador Kethvar stood at the window of the Council building, watching the battle in the sky above. He had seen the human fleet arrive, watched them destroy the pirates in less than 2 minutes, and felt something he had never experienced before. Complete helplessness. "The humans saved us," whispered his aide, Veltar. "They came back to help us." Kethvar's crystal body dimmed with shame. 5 years ago, he had been the loudest voice demanding human expulsion. He had called them dangerous, unpredictable, threat to galactic peace. Now they had returned to save the galaxy from total collapse. "Incoming transmission from the human fleet," announced the communications officer. The main screen in the council chamber showed Admiral Katie Sullivan. She looked older than when the humans had left, but her eyes were still sharp and determined. Behind her, Kethvar could see the bridge of a ship that was beyond anything the galaxy had ever produced. "Counselor Kethvar," Katie said, her voice formal but not hostile. We have neutralized the immediate threat to Nexus Prime. Our medical ships are standing by to assist with casualties. Kethvar struggled to find words. Admiral Sullivan, I thank you. No thanks are necessary, Katie replied. We did not come back for gratitude. We came back because innocent people were dying. Other alien leaders were joining the transmission now. Counselor Yathara appeared on screen from her home world, her flower-like face bright with relief. Ambassador Zixtha connected from the Vorthak capital, her 4 eyes wide with amazement. How is this possible? Zixtha asked. Your ships moved faster than our sensors could track. Your weapons cut through our best shields like they were made of paper. Katie exchanged glances with her officers. We had 5 years to develop new technology without interference or restrictions. We used that time well. Captain Sam Rodriguez joined Katie on screen. His hair had gone gray during the exile, but his mind was sharper than ever. The Corvin Syndicate controlled over 40 systems. We have neutralized their fleet and liberated their conquered territories. Normal trade and communication can resume immediately. The alien leaders looked at each other in shock. In one day, the humans had solved a problem that had been growing for 2 years. They had done it so easily that it seemed almost casual. What about the plague? Asked Dr. Zeftai, joining the conversation from Sanctuary. Our people are still dying. Dr. Paul Harrison appeared on screen next to Katie. His wild hair was a little grayer, but his eyes still burned with scientific curiosity. We have developed treatments for all known variants of the Altarian plague. Medical ships are already en route to affected systems. We should have the outbreak contained within weeks. Dr. Zeftai's research had stalled for 2 years, unable to keep up with the mutating virus. The humans were offering to solve the crisis in weeks. How? She asked quietly. We learned to think differently, Dr. Harrison explained. Instead of fighting each mutation separately, we developed adaptive treatments that evolve with the virus. The medicine learns and changes as fast as the disease does. Commander Alex Turner appeared on screen with an update from the surface. We have teams working on the infrastructure problems across the galaxy. The communication network should be restored within days. The industrial facilities can be brought back online with minimal effort. Kethvar felt his crystal body tremble. You are fixing everything. All the problems that have been destroying us for years, you are solving them in hours. Katie's expression softened slightly. We never wanted to leave, Ambassador. This galaxy was our home too. When you forced us to go, we did not abandon our responsibilities. We just found new ways to fulfill them. But why? Kethvar asked, his voice breaking. Why help us after what we did to you? Katie was quiet for a moment, looking around her, bridge at the human officers who had been forced into exile. Because that is who we are. We help because helping is right, not because we expect rewards. Counselor Yithara spoke up from her transmission. Admiral, the Council is prepared to offer full reparations for our mistake. We can restore all your former territories, provide compensation for the forced evacuation, anything you require. Katie shook her head. We do not want our old territories back. We have built something better beyond the rim. This confused the alien leaders. If the humans did not want their colonies back, what did they want? Then what are your terms? Ambassador Zixtha asked nervously. Katie stood up from her command chair and walked closer to the camera. When she spoke, her voice carried the authority of someone who held the fate of the galaxy in her hands. The galaxy needs protection. It needs someone to keep the peace, to respond to crises, to defend the innocent. For 50 years, we did this, as junior partners, always asking permission, always deferring to the Council's authority. She paused, letting her words sink in. Those days are over. We will protect this galaxy, but we will do it our way. No more committee meetings to decide if we can rescue civilians. No more debates about whether pirates deserve due process. No more politics preventing us from doing what is right. Kethvar finally understood. The humans were not returning as subjects or even as equals. They were returning as protectors, as guardians, as the dominant force in galactic civilization. You are taking control, he said quietly. We are accepting responsibility, Katie corrected. The Council can continue to exist, continue to make laws and trade agreements and cultural exchanges. But when there is danger, when people need help, when peace needs to be maintained, humans will make those decisions. The alien leaders looked at each other through their video links. They had spent 5 years learning what the galaxy was like without human protection. It had been chaos, war, plague, and death. And if we refuse? Zixta asked, though her voice showed she already knew the answer. Katie looked back at her tactical display, where human ships were already moving to strategic positions throughout the galaxy. Then you will be free to handle the next crisis yourselves. But we both know how that will end. There was a long silence as the alien leaders considered their options. Finally, Counselor Yathara spoke for all of them. Welcome home, Admiral Sullivan. The galaxy has missed you. Katie smiled for the first time since the conversation began. Thank you, Counselor. Now let's get to work. We have a lot of fixing to do. The transmission ended, and across the galaxy, human ships began the work of rebuilding what fear and pride had torn apart. The age of human exile was over. The age of human leadership had begun.